The content in this video is designed for simulation purposes only and is not for real-world use. Okay, welcome all to a demonstrated run of the en route Benalla scenario in the Sweatbox simulator. And in order to take that next step from S3 to C1, we're going to be looking at some control techniques that are especially relevant to the en route environment. Specifically looking at sequencing techniques into Melbourne, which is obviously super relevant for events such as Milk Run Monday. Going to be looking at workload management in terms of seeing when things are about to get super busy and making decisions based on that and working through that, getting additional controllers to help out, etc. Going to be looking at some conflict resolution, awareness tools, system tools, and all sorts of techniques that you're going to need to know to be able to work in the high workload environment of en route sequencing sectors. I've got Matt with me here today. He'll be our instructor / pilot. He'll be doing all of the flying of the pilots in the sim, and he'll be our sort of pseudo controller for any splits that we do, and he'll be giving us a handover to start off with. The first thing that we're going to look at here before the run even starts is your screen setup. So important to make sure that you've got everything set up before you log onto the network. The screen setup that we've got here, all of the important elements. So we've got our airspace shown here. That's the Benalla sector and the Ildenweir sector, so the Benalla parent sector. Essentially, what you're going to have with most sectors is a funny shape that is not necessarily circular or fits on your monitor screen. So Benalla is a good example of that, is a funny little shape. And then we structure all of the things that we need for the ancillary items on the screen around that airspace, making sure that we've still got 50 miles everywhere on every side showing so that we can see any aircraft coming our way. So yes, the important stuff, obviously if you've got two monitors, I normally would have two monitors. However, I'm just showing them all on one screen so that I can show that you can do it with one monitor as well. And this is how you'd want it set up. So the announced and pre-active strips, jurisdiction window set to the minimum height so that when you designate an aircraft, it shows right there in the jurisdiction window. Any relevant ATCs coming up here. This is a simulated VSCS window for the specific to the Sweatbox simulator. Any AIS info that you need as well, controller lists, all the good stuff that you'd be used to seeing, fairly similar to what you would have had up in your S3 training as well. So in this run, as I said, we're going to be looking at a bunch of sequencing. You can see all the aircraft coming in there. We're going to get a bunch of departures out of Melbourne. But we're going to get the full picture now. Matt is going to give us a handover as the incoming controller.
Alrighty. So obviously the student just logged on, so we're going to orient the student, and this is the same handover that you do as a controller, handing off your sector or any portion of your sector as well to anyone who's coming on to give you a hand or to relieve you. So looking at the airspace we've got here, runways 16 is in use for arrivals and departures at Melbourne, 17 is in use for arrivals and departures at Canberra. Airspace, all surrounding en route sectors are online. Melbourne approach and Canberra approach are both online. Avalon is currently uncontrolled and Albury Tower is offline. Weather is benign. Information November is current at Melbourne with the QNH 1013 and information Alpha current at Canberra. Frequency is just 132 decimal 2 is active, and traffic, no traffic in the sector at the moment. There's multiple aircraft inbound for Melbourne. They'll shortly be calling from Sydney. There's no separation issues. However, sequencing will be required. Multiple departures are planned out of Melbourne for the Northwest. Particular note, watch out for toll freight 11. And there are slow BAE 146. And we need to watch the Melbourne departures potentially conflicting with Qantas 64 overflying from the southwest. They're locked in at flight level 360. Additionally, to the northwest, Aussie 10 is locked in at flight level 190. Any questions?
No questions. Let's go.
Alrighty, so we're starting the sim now, so the aircraft are going to start to move.
Excellent. We can see all of the flight plans coupling now. And now this is when we start our controlling. So he said Aussie 10 was locked in at 190, Qantas 64 locked in at 360. First thing I know about Qantas 64, negative RVSM, potentially going to be in, he's also at a non-standard level. So the double whammy there. And he's going to be possibly in conflict with all of the departures. And when I say all of the departures, I'm talking a lot of departures. Looking at everyone here that's out of Melbourne for Sydney, there is plenty of departures to come, and including we received in that handover there, talked about Team Air 11 or BLA 146. So if he jumps out first, then or in front of anyone, then there's going to be a fast following conflict to resolve for Ildenweir. On top of that, a bunch of sequencing coming. Like these aircraft are pretty much all on top of each other, and that's going to require work to get into Melbourne. And just to add to that, now Envoy is departing Canberra for Avalon, and he wants 430. That's going to be quite annoying. So there is an enormous amount of workload coming. I mentioned Aussie 10 crossing over all of the arrivals and the departures routes there. So enormous amount of workload coming, absolutely monumental. So in order to reduce that workload, the first thing I'm going to do is split off Ildenweir. We've identified that there's an enormous amount of departures. There's a couple of aircraft that are planned on the ground as well that can get in the way in the sequence. So the first thing I'm going to do is hop on the Discord, hop on the ATC chat, whatever it is, and see if someone is available to hop on Ildenweir. And we'll get Ildenweir to come and join us now, and I'll hand off Ildenweir to the new controller. So whenever Ildenweir is ready, he'll call me on the cold line, and I'll answer and give him a handover. Alrighty, splitting off Ildenweir for you. We're on runways 16 at Melbourne. Airspace, all the surrounding en route sectors are online. Melbourne approach is online. Avalon is uncontrolled. Weather is benign. QNH is a high. And frequencies, obviously I haven't got anyone on your frequency at the moment, but you'll just be on 12375. Traffic, no traffic in your airspace at the moment. Plenty of announced tracks, plenty of departures out of Melbourne, including Team Air 11, which is a 146. So if he gets away first, there'll be a fast following conflict there. Out to the north, got Aussie 10 that's crossing over the arrivals tracks. I'll manage that in mind, so he shouldn't come into your airspace, but I'll let you know. Then down to the southwest, you got Qantas 64 negative RVSM that's going to be in conflict with the departures potentially as well. So just watch out for them. Any questions?
No questions.
Right, all yours. Cool. All right, so now we are locked into just the Benalla sector, and we can start to manage all of the sequencing with a little bit more focus and some of the faster following stuff out of approach. Ildenweir can manage that, so that should make things a little bit easier to start things off from a workload management perspective. So really important to analyze your blue announce tracks and identify those factors early, I guess. All right, here comes our first one. We're going to make him number one, probably. He's low and he's in front, so we're going to try to get him going as fast as possible.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. Velocity 443, maintaining flight level 320.
Velocity 443 sent g'day, cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha arrival, runway 16. When ready, descend to flight level 250.
Cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha arrival, runway 16. When ready, descend flight level 250, velocity 443.
And I'll call approach. Velocity 443, I'll try to make them number 1. Can I have max speed for them?
Concur, velocity 443, max speed.
Thanks. Velocity 443, increase to maximum speed to the field, cancel all speed restrictions.
Increase to maximum speed, cancel speed restrictions, velocity 443.
Okay. What's our spacing there? So I'm not going to be able to give envoy higher for now.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. Velocity, Qantas 864, maintaining flight level 380.
Qantas 864, centre, g'day, cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, maintain flight level 380.
Cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, maintain flight level 380, Qantas 864. Melbourne Centre, g'day. Envoy 30, climbing to flight level 240.
Envoy 30, centre, g'day, and to facilitate further climb and your arrival, turn right 20 degrees and report new heading.
Turn right 20 degrees, heading 255, Envoy 30.
Envoy 30. All right, cool. And Envoy 30, it'll be a short delay for higher, reference arriving traffic.
Envoy 30.
Right, so he wants higher. I'll just put the request in the label so that I know about it. It's going to delay. I'll put the IQL on and I'll leave the strip extended so I can middle click the strip there so that I know that he's an Avalon arrival. I also need to leave the C prompt off because heads up coordination, correction, that heads up coordination will be required for Ildenweir. So the Benalla to Ildenweir portion, I can do that voiceless, so that's all fine.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. Rex 44, maintaining flight level 360.
Rex 44, centre, g'day, cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, maintain flight level 360.
Cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, maintain flight level 360, Rex 44. Melbourne Centre, g'day. Jetstar 677, maintaining flight level 340.
Jetstar 677, centre, g'day, cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, flight level 340.
Cleared the Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, flight level 340, Jetstar 677.
Okay, starting to get envoy off their route. Not quite 5 miles off their route yet, but what level can I assign that's safe? He's more than 5 miles clear of velocity 443. I could give him a level underneath Jetstar, so let's go. Envoy 30, climb to flight level 320.
Climb to flight level 320, Envoy 30.
Okay, how's that looking? Coming back soon.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. United 4, maintaining flight level 400.
United 4, centre, g'day, cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, flight level 400.
Cleared the Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival, runway 16, flight level 400, United 4.
And United 4 for sequencing, reduce to minimum speed in the cruise.
Reduce to minimum speed in the cruise, United 4.
All right, let's get Envoy back. He's more than 5 miles off their route now, and we just want to keep him in between the Melbourne and the Sydney, or the inbound and the outbound airways. So Envoy 30, turn left heading 230.
Turn left heading 230, Envoy 30.
Envoy 30, climb to flight level 430.
Climb to flight level 430, Envoy 30.
Cool. We'll come back to him shortly because there's a few outstanding actions, but we'll just get all of the stars into Melbourne and then we'll come back to him.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. Bonza 23, maintaining flight level 360.
Bonza 23 Centre, g'day, cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival runway 16, flight level 360.
Cleared Lizzie 9 Alpha, arrival runway 16, flight level 360, Bonza 23.
Cool. Okay, all the stars done into Melbourne. We briefly alluded before to this Aussie 10 conflict, so my plan is get him out of the way, or I want him to just cross, since he's low level, I want him to cross out of the descent path of these aircraft. So on first contact, I can either give him direct E-sail, or I could give him a little bit more room by giving him NABA. E-sail will probably be my plan. So he gets there, goes direct to NABA, thence E-sail. And these aircraft should all be able to go vertically on top of him. And now he's handing over to us now. So that'll be our plan to solve that, reference the arrivals.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. Aussie 10, maintaining flight level 190.
Aussie 10 Centre, g'day. To facilitate arrivals into Melbourne, re-cleared present position direct to NABA. That's November Alpha Bravo Bravo Alpha, thence E-sail. Maintain flight level 190.
Re-clear direct NABA, thence E-sail, flight level 190, Aussie 10.
All right, let's see how that looks with the arrivals now. Well clear. Who's he going to be most in it with? Yeah, he's a pretty good distance from all of them, so that should work well. All right, how's that heading looking? Cool. What I'll do now is I'll call Ildenweir and make sure that they're okay with direct Melbourne. Direct Melbourne should keep them deconflicted from the arrivals and the departures, and then I'll give a star. So we'll call Ildenweir first. Envoy 30, request direct Melbourne.
Concur, direct Melbourne, Envoy 30.
Thanks. Envoy 30, resume own navigation, cleared direct Melbourne, star clearance available.
Resume own navigation, clear direct Melbourne, go ahead, Envoy 30.
Envoy 30, apologies. Winds at Avalon 190 degrees, 12 knots, advise your preferred runway.
Envoy 30, runway 18.
Envoy 30, cleared JB5 arrival, Melbourne transition, runway 18, flight level 430.
Cleared the cleared the JB5 arrival, Melbourne transition, runway 18, flight level 430, Envoy 30.
All right, so that keeps him more than 5 miles away from the Melbourne arrivals, more than 5 miles away from the Melbourne departures to Sydney. He just sort of shoots the gap there. And then once he gets into approaches airspace or Ildenweir's airspace, they can just play it vertically. And we can see here with the closest approach with Qantas 64, 12 miles, well apart. So that should work nicely. Okay, we want to start looking at some sequencing now. All we've done is we've given this 787 min speed, and we've given the front aircraft max speed. So we want to start looking at what else we could do to make it work. Obviously, if we wanted, it would have been nice to get some speed control done earlier, but we've been working non-stop. So we'll start to slow everyone down. Qantas 864, reduce Mach number by decimal 0.5 in the cruise, and expect a vector for sequencing.
Reduced by Mach decimal 0.5 in the cruise, Qantas 864.
Rex 44, reduce Mach number by decimal 0.5 in the cruise, expect a vector for sequencing.
Reduce cruise speed by Mach decimal 0.5, Rex 44.
And Jetstar 677, reduce Mach number by decimal 0.5 in the cruise, expect a vector for sequencing.
Reduce cruise speed by Mach decimal 0.5, Jetstar 677.
Bonza, I'm still not sure about. He's the back of the sequence, so it can't hurt to slow him down, so let's do it. Bonza 23, reduce Mach number by decimal 0.5 in the cruise, and expect a vector.
Reduce Mach number by decimal 0.5, Bonza 23.
All right, now let's look at the front two. So basically when we're doing sequencing, this is just a bunch of one-on-ones. So the first one we're looking at is this velocity versus this Qantas. Try to attack these two first, and then we'll have a look at the others. So the front aircraft has a max. We can see that we've got 70 knots of opening. And how many miles do we have right now? 5 miles. So we've got a standard at the moment, but obviously we want that to be closer to 10 miles at handoff. Well, we want at least 10 miles. Ildenweir is going to need at least 10 miles with a handoff to approach. So when we hand off to Ildenweir, we want to give a little bit more so that they've got some room to work with as the aircraft get closer to each other as their speeds come down on descent. So we want to be aiming for somewhere around 12, 13 miles on handoff, 2 minutes sort of area. The question is, are we going to get that naturally with their current speeds? I would say probably not. It's going to need a little bit of work. So we're just going to start. We've slowed everyone down. So it started to help with the situation. We've got that separation there, but we want to start making it work using a vector. And it's not going to need much, but we just treat this as a bunch of individual conflicts. We use these BRLs and we sort of daisy chain them. So we start with this one, we solve that conflict, then we go to the next one, we solve that conflict, then we go to the next one, we solve that conflict, then we go to the next one, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be the plan. Let's start by getting some aircraft on a vector. So get Qantas down here. Qantas 864 for sequencing, turn left heading 180, expect to rejoin the star.
Turn left heading 180, Qantas 864.
Cool. And then we're going to do that for everyone. Rex 44 for sequencing, turn left heading 180, expect to rejoin the star.
Turn left heading 180, Rex 44.
Jetstar 677 for sequencing, turn left heading 180, expect to rejoin the star.
Turn left heading 180, Jetstar 677.
Cool. And lastly, United 4 for sequencing, turn left heading 180, expect to rejoin the star.
Turn left heading 180, United 4.
Cool. All right. So it's not going to need long Qantas 864 versus Velocity 443. We can see that's already at the difference between those BRLs is 8 miles, and we've got 70 knots of opening. So that's just about a mile a minute. And how many minutes are they from? About 5 minutes from Benala's airspace, from Ilden Weir's airspace. So it's going to go 5 miles more than that. That's pretty much exactly what we want. So I'm going to go back to NABA now for Qantas 864. Qantas 864, resume mode navigation, cleared direct NABA.
Resume mode navigation, clear direct NABA, Qantas 864.
And Qantas 864, on descent, maintain 280 knots into published.
280 knots into published, on descent, Qantas 864.
Cool. And now, so we're pretty happy with how that's going to look with Qantas 864 and Velocity 443. We're going to keep looking at it. But for now, we're moving on to the next conflict because we think we've got the distance. So we're going to be managing the next one, which is Qantas 864 versus Rex 44. So at the moment, we've only got 4 miles longitudinal at Bulla. So we're going to leave Rex 44 on a vector to the south until we're happy with it. And once Qantas 864 is clear of Rex 44, we can give Qantas 864 descent as well. Cool. Let's have a quick zoom out, see if there's anything else coming. No, nothing yet. How many miles have they got now? Haven't got 5 miles yet. Ram's going off. Yep, that's as expected. Looks like we probably will need a vector for Bonzo. How many miles have they got? 20 miles. Yeah, I'll leave them going for a little bit longer. We'll come back and have a look at it. How many miles longitudinal have we got now? 13 miles and plenty of opening, so that's looking pretty good. Between Qantas 864 and Velocity 443, coming back to these two, we've got more than 5 miles. Qantas 864, when ready, descend to flight level 250.
When ready, descend to flight level 250, Qantas 864.
Yep, cool. 60 plus 66. Obviously, if we want to get these aircraft coming down here, if we want to get them on a vector up that way, we can do that as well. We'll just leave them coming down for now. Pretty happy with how that's all looking. Velocity 443 is looking all good. They've got their max, they've got descent. Nothing really more to do with them, so let's hand them off. Velocity 443, contact center 123.75.
123.75, Velocity 443, g'day.
G'day. Cool. Still happy with their distance. Yep, 14 miles, good. How we got 8 miles here. Let's get Rex 44 sort of just, no, we'll just leave them going for a little bit until it gets to about 10 miles. And then it should be all good. We could give them a reduced speed on descent, but then we don't want to back them up too much of the aircraft behind them. So we'll probably just give them 280 as well. Keep it consistent with all the aircraft. get like a nice consistent distance, makes it easy to work with. We can see some of these departures are coming on a 64. I'm happy with. Team Air 11's that slow aircraft. But now I've got Ild and Weir to manage that conflict, which is nice, but I'll keep a BRL between them to make sure it doesn't break down in mine. 49 plays 60. Let's get him back. Rex 44, turn right heading 280.
Turn right heading 280, Rex 44.
Cool. 42, so they're doing the same ground speed. Yeah, Bonzo's definitely going to need a vector based on how these aircraft are going. So Bonzo 23, turn left heading 180, expect to rejoin the star.
Turn left heading 180, Bonzo 23.
Looking good. 58 plays 46, so yep, I'm happy with that. Rex 44, resume own navigation, cleared direct Buller to rejoin the star.
Resume own navigation, clear direct Buller to rejoin the star. Rex 44.
Rex 44, on descent, maintain 280 knots into published speeds.
On descent, 280 knots into published speed, Rex 44.
Cool. I do have 5 miles of Jetstar 677 now, so I can give him descent. Rex 44, when ready, descend to flight level 250.
When ready, flight level 250, Rex 44.
All right, showing 42 plays 54, so we've got 12 miles for them, so that's looking good. I'll keep assessing it just before handoff, but we daisy chain to the next conflict. Rex 44 versus Jetstar 677 got 7 miles. I might turn Jetstar 677 back this way so that I've got a bit more space to work with. Jetstar 677, turn right heading 310.
Turn right heading 310, Jetstar 677.
Envoy 30, when ready, descend to flight level 250.
When ready, descend flight level 250, Envoy 30.
Okay, Qantas 864 has started down, so I'll just change that. I gave him 280 into publish, so update that there so that the other controllers know what's going on. All right,
864, left flight level 380.
Qantas 864. Checking that again, 36 plays 49, 13 miles. That's exactly what we want. We can hand off to Ild and Weir now. Qantas 864, contact center 123.75.
123.75, Qantas 864.
Cool. Just quickly looking at what we've got here. So 55 plays 45, same speeds. That's looking good. But I'll leave Jetstar sort of coming inboard a bit here before I get them back towards Buller. So I can just watch the distances get to where I want them to get to. I'll just wait until Envoy is far enough in front of this Aussie before I hand off Envoy to Ild and Weir. How are these two looking? I might need to get United coming back now. Yeah, United's quite far behind. I might get them. United 4, turn right heading 310.
Turn right heading 310, United 4.
Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on as well, that I'm trying to get Jetstar back towards Rex, trying to get their distances right, but United's probably too far behind Jetstar at the moment. So I might actually turn United a bit inside of Jetstar so I can start to close up that distance a little bit, because we need Jetstar to come back and United to come in. So United 4, track adjustment, fly heading 290.
Heading 290, United 4.
Right, this distance, 11 miles. Right, I'll just leave Jetstar on that heading for a little bit longer. Then I should be able to go direct to Buller. Envoy is far enough in front of Aussie now. Hand them off. Envoy 30, contact center 123.75.
123.75, Envoy 30.
47, 34. Jetstar 677, resume mode navigation. Cleared direct Buller.
Resume my navigation, clear direct Buller, Jetstar 677.
Jetstar 677, when ready, descend to flight level 250, and on descent, maintain 280 knots into published.
When ready, descend to flight level 250, speed 280 knots into published, Jetstar 677.
Okay, he's looking good. checking the distances again there. Blew that out a little bit, 15 miles still, nothing too bad. That might close up, or Eildon Weir can adjust the speeds as they get closer. Rex 44, contact center 123.75.
123.75, Rex 44.
Cool. How are we looking here? Jetstar plays United. We've got 13 miles. I'll just check that United's happy with a speed of 280 on descent to make sure that I can get the speeds that I'm looking for. United 4, are you able to make, is a speed on descent of 280 knots acceptable?
United 4, A firm.
United 4, you can expect that. Okay, cool. So Jetstar's now tracking direct to Buller. Got 13 miles. I'll just leave United on that heading for a fraction longer, and then we can do away with that. United versus Bonza, 10 miles at the moment. Bonza is still sort of coming to the south there, so I'll leave Bonza for a little bit longer. Aussie 10, when ready, leave controlled airspace descending. Area QNH 1029, no reported IFR traffic.
When ready, leave controlled airspace descending. QNH 1029, Aussie 10.
Cool. I should take the C prompt off for Aussie 10 there, actually, because COAD will be required to Huon as they infringe on their boundary on their way into Eastdale. Okay, United 4 versus Jetstar. Let's look again. 35. Yeah, that's good. United 4, resume navigation, cleared direct Buller. When ready, descend to flight level 250.
Resume navigation, clear direct to Buller. When ready, descend to flight level 250, United 4.
United 4, on descent, make speed 280 knots into published.
Speed on descent 280 knots into published, United 4.
Cool, that's that done.
Melbourne Centre, g'day, ambulance 213, King Air IFR, taxiing Mount Hotham, runway 11 for Essendon, 6 POB.
Ambulance 213, Centre, squawk 4473, no reported IFR traffic.
Squawk 4473, ambulance 213.
All right, we'll come back to ambulance in a second, but a couple of things to look at there. Firstly, is he traffic with Aussie 10? No. Aussie 10 has been cleared to leave, but I don't expect Aussie 10 to descend all the way through his level now and get OCTA, which the lower level of CTA there is 125. I don't expect that to be a traffic conflict. And I also expect to see ambulance on radar well before he enters controlled airspace, so then I can make an assessment and make sure that they're clear of each other. So yeah, not traffic there. However, ambulance 213's route may cause an issue, reference to sequence, but we'll look at that in a sec. Looking at these two, 26 plays 41 is okay. 41 plays 57, yeah, can get Bonza back now. Bonza 23, resume navigation, cleared direct Buller. When ready, descend to flight level 250.
Resume navigation, clear direct to Buller. When ready, descend flight level 250. Bonza 23.
Okay, United 4 is looking good. Jetstar's on descent, 280 into published. And off. So you can see with this very high workload, it would be very challenging to do this combined as Benalla and Eildon Weir. There's just so much to do, all of these conflicts coming out. There's a lot going on. I can take the BRL off those two. They've climbed out, the back aircraft has out-climbed the team air. Jetstar 677, contact center 123.75.
123.75, Jetstar 677.
United 4 started their descent. I've got 280 in published. Descending, and they're clear of Aussie 10. I can't hand them off yet because they're not more than 5 miles clear, because on first contact, Eildon Weir's allowed to descend them to whatever level they like. So I've got to wait until they're clear of each other. Looks like we blew out Bonza a bit more than we needed to. It's okay because Bonza's the back of the sequence on our end, but that's showing closer to 20 miles there. So I'll give Bonza 23, resume normal speed.
Resume normal speed, Bonza 23.
Yeah, so if you blow out the back aircraft, doesn't matter as much. Now, coming back to ambulance, they cross over all of these arrivals. So what I might do is I might coordinate to Eildon Weir and check if they're okay with tracking direct to colds. That'll get them out of the way of everyone. Taxiing Hotham Ambulance 213, you happy with direct colds?
Ambulance 213, A firm, direct colds.
Right, will be, thank you. Ambulance 213, expect clearance tracking amended direct to colds. There's no reported IFR traffic.
Ambulance 213.
There we go. And that cohort's done. United's good. They're clear of Aussie, more than 5 miles clear of Aussie. Looking good in the sequence. And I'll hand them off to Eildon Weir. Cool. Bonds 23, correction, disregard. We gave them profile speed, so we can leave them at profile. There's plenty of distance to go between United and them, as we saw before. United 4. Sorry, disregard.
Qantas 64, maintaining flight level 360.
Qantas 64, centre gate. United 4, contact, centre 123.75.
123.75, United 4.
All right, let's just do the code for Aussie. And to the north, north of East Sale, Aussie 10 is an arrival. Do you have any traffic?
No traffic, Aussie 10.
Thank you. All right. Ewan has no traffic. And the cohort is done. Cool. And we wait for Bonza to be 5 miles clear of Aussie before we hand them off to Eildon Weir. Ambulance is on a route that diverges from all of that. So we can see it looks like they're getting airborne now. I can just see their code there. And as we were saying before, now that they're on surveillance, we can make that assessment that they're well clear of Aussie. So no traffic is required there, and obviously no separation concerns until I give ambulance 213 a clearance, but we can see that they'll be well clear of each other. Cool. Still, all right, so a little bit of closing between Bonza 23 and United 4, but that'll be good because, as we said, Bonza 23 is a bit further behind than they needed to be, so we can leave that closing, hand them off to Eildon Weir. Bonza 23, contact center 123.75.
123.75, Bonza 23, g'day.
G'day. And we can see how our sequence has had an effect. So the front aircraft that we gave max, that's got them well in front. Now, obviously, Eildon Weir is just a bot at the moment. They're not a real controller, so they're not doing the actions that a real controller would do. But we can see that it's gave them so much more space to work with the next one. Then we've got 10 miles behind, 14 miles, 13 miles, 20 miles. Perfect. So really good spacing with all of them that we've managed to achieve through our sequencing actions. So we're pretty happy with that, how that's worked out, made things easy for both us and Eildon Weir. But yes, I'm very glad that Eildon Weir was that we split off Eildon Weir to reduce that workload, especially with these faster following departures.
Ambulance 213, 5.5 miles west of Mount Hotham, passing 8,600, climbing to flight level 180, estimate colds 34.
Ambulance 213 identified clear to Essendon via amended present position direct colds. That's flight plan route, climb to flight level 180.
Clear to Essendon via amended colds, flight planned route, climb flight level 180, ambulance 213.
Just make sure.
We're going to get a Team Air 11.
Team Air 11 sent to G'day. Confirm assign level.
Flight level 230, apologies. Team Air 11.
Team Air 11 center. Happy with you and happy with you. Happy with you. Another departure coming out. Looks good.
Melbourne Centre, g'day. Q-Link 39 Delta -8 Delta IFR, taxiing Albury runway 25 for Melbourne.
Q-Link 39 Delta sent to G'day. Squawk 3645. No reported IFR traffic.
Squawk 3645 Q-Link 39 Delta.
Okay, let's have a look at its Q-Link. Doesn't look like it's going to affect the sequence. There's no one else coming from that way. I can't see any conflicts. All of the Melbourne departures will get well above his requested level of 180. So yeah, Q-Link should pose no real issues for us.
Center, g'day. Toll freight 44, maintaining correction, climbing to flight level 370.
Toll freight 44, Centre, g'day. Right, he says he's climbing to 370. I've seen him maintaining 33 for a little bit, so I'll just see if he starts to climb before I question him. But that's something to consider there. Yeah, it looks like he's starting his climb now, so that's all good. Cool. Looks like we've dealt with the hard part of it. Looks like it's all going okay now. We can get rid of ambulance now. We don't need him anymore. Ambulance 213, contact center 123.75.
123.75, ambulance 213.
Anything else coming? No. Nothing else in the announced window. Nothing else in the pre-active window. Oh, just a Melbourne for the Sydney flight plan that's not yet taxiing. Yeah, so it looks like we've weathered the storm there through workload management, through basic sequencing principles.
Geelink 39 Delta, 2 miles to the south of Albury, passing 3,200, climbing to flight level 180, estimate Dougie 18.
Geelink 39 Delta, identified, cleared to Melbourne via Dougie flight plan route, climb to flight level 180.
Cleared to Melbourne via Dougie flight plan route, climb flight level 180, Geelink 39 Delta.
Okay, I'll take the C prompt off there because the SOPs do recommend that I conduct heads-up code to Ildenweir on this route, so I'll call them now. Via Dougie, Geelink 39 Delta.
Geelink 39 Delta, flight level 180.
Easy. Cool. That's pretty much everything for that scenario. So as we spoke about at the start, we got to see the sequencing techniques as the primary action there. But obviously when you're sequencing and doing milk run, that's not the only thing you're doing. There's plenty of other things going on as well. So the conflict detection, the early conflict detection, the workload management is all super important to allow you to conduct that sequencing. So some of the stuff that we saw with the assessing the conflicts primarily of that Aussie crossing over all of our routes there, and the envoy departing Canberra wanting to get high for Avalon. So it was super important that we assessed everything to do with that envoy, that he was wanting to climb up underneath all of the Melbourne arrivals, and that he was wanting to go to Avalon. So he's going to need to be on a different track. He's going to need to be high. And when we're solving those conflicts, we just go through the process of our three options, a three-step process of track shortening, vertical separation, vectors. So the first thing we looked at for envoy was, can we use track shortening? And the answer was sort of, because direct to Melbourne was the way to get them out of the way of all of the departures and all of the arrivals. So we did use track shortening to our advantage there. We just needed a bit of vectors to make that work to start off with, because it was never going to work vertically. He needs to get on top of all of these arrivals. He needs to stay on top of the arrivals when he's coming into Avalon. Obviously, he'll be higher on profile. So verts was never an option, but we just need a little vector to then make the track shortening work. Likewise for Aussie 10, track shortening may have improved things, but it may not have gotten us everything that we needed, because it was going to get him somewhere on that track there. Whereas we just assured it by giving him essentially did the role of a vector by giving him an amended waypoint via NABA, got him out of the way. And then assured everything with verts. We assigned all of those arrivals 250, well on top of Aussie 10. So we were using sort of a combination of those two, but that's how we resolve those conflicts through that process. And then the other big thing that we saw was workload management, identifying early that there was going to be a heap of workload. We were going to need to sequence at least 6 or 7 aircraft. We had a bunch of departures with potential faster following. We had aircraft on the ground at Hotham and Albury that were potentially going to come in and join the sequence. So many things that are going to keep us on our toes. There's no reason why we should be trying to be the hero there. We should always be looking for assistance there. Just getting Ildenweir to take a bunch of that stuff off us made life so much easier. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching an en route demonstrated simulator run tutorial, I guess. And stay tuned for hopefully more things along this line coming for our students and for the Academy.